You do not want to say that one. What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Wow. It is
just went live. I was
just went live. It is Tuesday night. It is a Steel Conspiracy. You know what time it is. I got a lot to talk about. We got beginning of football season, NFL season. Excited. We have 5 months of football now, and then we get some basketball. So we don't have to watch baseball anymore, right, Rodney?
No, we never did. We never started.
Well, I did. I like baseball.
Baseball's
garbage. But wow,
already started with it. Garbage people.
I already started with the disrespect. So let's get ready. Pull up a seat, get a drink. Let's talk some football. Let's go, everybody.
Image, your beats are so fire.
I feel we can beat the Browns. We can compete with Baltimore if they have Lamar, and we're right there with the
That young man put his life on the line for you, for your entertainment.
We were talking all before the game. You know, everyone was like, "Nah, Ravens don't have a shot," and they're right there. What is going on, everybody? My name is Suge, and it is a Steel Conspiracy podcast that you are tuned into. Appreciate you. Hope you are having a great night. Of course, I'm here with the Starfield Navy captain himself, Mr. Bronny. Wow. How you doing today, sir? That's what you told me earlier.
No. That's not what I told you earlier.
What did you tell me?
So
you
said you were kidnapped by the Navy.
Did you get kidnapped? I thought you said you got recruited.
No. They were under the impression that I had broken some laws, which I clearly did not do. But they kidnapped me and they forced me into undercover work to avoid jail.
Wow. Well, isn't that usually what governments do?
Apparently.
Usually what they do.
I don't know how they found me, but I didn't appreciate it.
Well, we'll actually get into some more Starfield talk. So if you are a Starfield fan, get ready because we'll be talking that tonight because Bronny has been playing the crap out of it. And so not only are you going to get some sports talk, not only are you going to get some trash talk, but you're also going to get some nerd talk in the SD in everybody's favorite segment, SVD talk. So it still sounds like an STD, but that's okay. But we are gonna other than the next 5 months, Bronny, of football starting. Are you like excited now? You're gonna have something to do on Sunday other than play Starfield and Stardew Valley. You play both.
Well, I don't play Stardew Valley anymore because there's I beat the game essentially, but. Always excited to have football back, but man, I'll tell you, it's gonna be a tough decision. The Panthers and the Ravens have better bring their A game every week, or they're gonna get turned off. And I'm gonna head back into the Starfield.
You can always watch the Steelers.
No, for what?
Just disrespect. It's like. I'm gonna kind of take interest in your team.
You don't really take interest in my team though, because I remember listening to the list of topics for tonight, and you were talking about holdouts for defensive linemen specifically, and you didn't even mention Brian Burns of the Panthers. So I feel like there's a lot of disrespect there, not a lot of interest in Carolina, but that's okay.
You're not wrong, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that I don't like Carolina.
I think it is.
It's just, I don't know. Bring back Jake Delhomme. That was when I watched Carolina.
He's like 45 or whatever he is, and he threw a ton of interceptions last season. I don't think he can play anymore. Cam, the way that ended was unfortunate, but we're on to Bryce Young now.
No, Mark Brunell played for the Jags.
Yeah.
What other great Panthers quarterbacks are there?
There aren't any. We're on to Bryce Young now. It was Cam.
What's going on,
Bryce Young?
There we go. What's going on, Jose? I hope you're having a great night. Appreciate you being here. Always glad that you're able to make it. Hope you had a good day. It's prime time. Prime time. There you go. Bronny wouldn't go to Navy because he wouldn't be allowed to wear his beanie.
You can wear beanies and be in the military, Jeremy.
I watch about every game thanks to Red Zone.
It's not watching every game, Jeremy. Yeah, I'm glad to see
that's what I'm saying. Like
your record of never being correct going. Appreciate it.
I think for me, I'm gonna watch the Steelers. I'm gonna pay attention to the Ravens, but I'm gonna watch the Panthers. But I'm really interested to see what happens with the Jets. We want to see what goes on with that. Brody was just playing this last season in his 40s. His last season in his 40s. Are you? Oh, we're the same age. That's right.
Jake Delhomme, he's not Brady. Jake Delhomme is not Tom Brady, and also I'm pretty sure he's older than that. He's 48, man. Jake Delhomme's 48. Tom, and by the way, Tom wasn't good last season.
No, did the Bucs even make the playoffs? Oh, they did.
They did because they were 8-9, but that was the best of the division. So
wow, and that division your team's in.
Yeah, that's right. That's why Carolina's going to win it this year.
You have a good chance. All right, let's get this ball rolling. It's some sports news today, Mr. Bronny.
Yes.
So if you heard, but Chiefs great tight end Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee in practice.
I did hear. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, this also comes on the heels of Chris Jones still continuing to hold out. He wants more money. I think, if I can remember correctly, I'm sorry I don't have the information up, but Chris Jones, I believe, wanted like $32 million a year, and they offered him like 27, if I'm correct, or
I don't have the I don't remember seeing the specific numbers, but they are not willing to meet his price at this point. That's what it boils down to, and so it looks like he may be sitting out, or they may even be looking to trade him. Travis Kelce, I think he's probably not going to play on Thursday. They said his ACL is fine, but he's got a lot of swelling in his knee, and they're waiting for that to go down to determine exactly how bad the injury might be. But right now they're thinking maybe 1 to 2 weeks or something like that. But they play Thursday. That's the problem. If they were playing Sunday, he might still be able to go. But with it just happening today and the game Thursday night, it's not a good idea for him to play.
Yeah, and it's the first game of the season. It's a long season.
It's Detroit.
Yeah, you could probably either take a loss or win the game just without him. So for Chris Jones, it was reported by Nick Wright, your favorite reporter, that on the table is 27.25 and for 2 years, so it would be 54.5. Chris Jones wants 64 with $32 million a year is what he wants, or he wants $32 million a year. Now Chris Jones has been a big part of Kansas City's defense, obviously getting him to Super Bowls, winning Super Bowls. Do you think this is a fair price, or is he asking too much, or is Kansas City lowballing him?
No, it's absolutely fair for him to be asking for that. And my opinion on particularly the NFL, they're all underpaid relative to their actual value, and that's by virtue of the salary cap. I think that he is 28, so giving him that kind of money on a short-term deal, a 2-year deal, I don't see any problem with that. He has been a major part of their championship runs and their runs in the playoffs, even when they didn't win the Super Bowls. He's one of the best defensive linemen in the league, one of the best defensive players in the league, and has been for quite a while. So I think it's perfectly fine for him to be asking for that. And, obviously the team is going to try to get him for as cheap as possible, but I don't think that they want to let it too long, because I don't think that they want to try and make another run without Chris Jones.
Yeah. And you know what I say when people want more money? You should negotiate better. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed.
shout out to the OT. That's called callback. That's a callback right
Yes.
there. What up, Big Ranch? Hope you're having a
What's
great
up,
night.
Reg?
Appreciate you being here. Yolanda, always a pleasure. Appreciate
How
you.
you
Thank
doing,
you for
Yolanda?
being here. Hope you're having a great night. Don't disrespect the Lions.
Don't disrespect that team that missed the playoffs because they couldn't beat the Panthers. Okay.
Wow. He's saying hello to Yolanda. Chris Jones, the best defender on the Chiefs. It's a fair ask. Okay. Chris Jones is a large reason for the Chiefs' success last season. They better pay him. Yes, he also cost them that roughing the passer against Tom Brady. So take into account how you feel about that. But they could have probably won the Super Bowl that year if he didn't rough the passer. Going like this, boop, on the top of Tom Brady's head.
They lost by a lot.
No, remember they lost in overtime.
No, not to the.
Or they didn't lose it. They lost in overtime because Chris Jones swiped.
To Tampa.
No. To
you talking about to New England in Mahomes' first year? Yeah.
He swiped that Tom Brady's thing, barely tapped him, and they called roughing the passer. So I was happy to see it happen to Kansas City fans. 2-time Super Bowl champ, and he's the best on their defense. Can't ask for whatever. Very true. Big Red saying what's up to Jeremy. Roughing the passer is a dumb rule. No, it's not.
Just continuing to be incorrect on everything.
It happens, but I don't think Jeremy does it on purpose. Yeah, so Chris Jones is holding out Kelsey's knee, and I think Jeremy said possibly an ACL. If it is, that sucks. I don't know if you catch him and his brother's podcast, which have been amazing podcasts. I like when athletes do podcasts, but he was really excited about going into the season. It sucks. It sucks if he is hurt. You don't ever want to see that. But hopefully it's not too bad. He's not that out long, and hopefully it's not an ACL because I would really. I was talking to a dad today about football, and he was telling me he was asking me who do I think is going to make the Super Bowl, and I said I believe it's going to be Chiefs Philly again. But I was saying it's funny how Kansas City, you look at the wide receivers and they're average. Maybe below average, but that's how good Mahomes is. He makes them look great, and then obviously he has Kelsey. So if you minus Kelsey, how does that affect Mahomes a little bit? I still think he's going to be great. I think Chiefs are going to be fine defensively. They're a good team, but this could affect them a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, from what I saw, they said they don't think it's an ACL. They think his ACL is fine. But if it does turn out to be that, I think that takes Kansas City out of the Super Bowl running. I don't think, you take away Tyreek Hill, and yeah, he's still Pat Mahomes, and he's still got Travis Kelce, who's one of the greatest, arguably the greatest tight end ever, and they still got it done. But you take away Travis Kelce also, I think it's too much to overcome.
Yeah, I agree
with how loaded the AFC is.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to my good friend Brandon Buck. Hope you're having a great day. Brian, let me tell you something. Before we go into the next topic, it's start of football season because I had texted you earlier. I got to go watch my son practice. He's in 8th grade. He made the flag football team, and I got to go watch that. And they have the 6th and 7th graders as JV, and then the 8th graders are varsity. And the 8th graders looked okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. Watching the 6th and 7th graders try to play football. It's funny, but it reminds you how pure the game is and what the game's about. But it also reminds you when we watch professional athletes how good they are because some of these kids had issues. Catching the ball, trying to figure out what they're supposed to do just on like kickoff stuff. And they'll never see this, but shout out to this little girl named Precious, 6th grade, 10 years old, made the team for 6th and 7th graders, and just was absolutely killing it out there. She is good God. If I was in 6th grade and had to chase this girl, I would probably die of a heart attack because she is fast. She is fast, like good God, fast.
Yeah.
And she made the team. She was so excited. So shout out to Precious, Santa Fe Middle School. I hope you have a great year, along with the 6th and 7th and 8th graders. So, but it was funny. It took me back. I remember I started talking to a dad about Hell Week for high school, having to pick up your pads and your helmet, and having a schedule of you had to go in the morning, work out, go to weight room, then go work out and help. And can we talk about how the coaches get away with abusing children at a young age? But good God, I remember Hell Week. We weren't allowed to drink water if we didn't run successful plays during the damn summer.
That's because a lot of coaches are absolute morons and they have no business being in charge of anybody. And their whole coaching philosophy is
no pain, no gain.
Yeah, just tough it out. And they're idiots. And that's how kids get hurt, and that's how kids die playing sports.
But I was having flashbacks of, like, I remember my freshman year of high school, Hell Week. It was 100 and something degrees. We weren't allowed to drink water unless we successfully run these plays. And my God, how I didn't die, no idea. But it wasn't fun. But then I go and think about my first game, and I made a tackle and stripped the ball, and how you got up excited, going to the sideline, and everybody is just, congratulating you, high-fiving you. One of my good friends grabs me by my face, man, and screaming in my face with spit everywhere. And we're, and then you go and you take your helmet off. You're like, God damn, your breath smells. But it's an experience I will always remember, even though it was really crappy. Totally forgot when Brady got bailed out last season because of Grady Jarrett barely threw Tom Brady on the ground. Dumb rule. It's a superstar call.
It's
just
not
like
a superstar call.
Just like Brady said today. He said if it was scripted, he wouldn't have lost to Peyton's little brother.
do you also think that, like, just unnecessary roughness in general is a dumb, personal fouls for late hits are dumb rule? Like, you can't hit them after they get rid of the ball. Now, like, they call it very some of the calls are very ticky-tack, but that's because the quarterbacks are the people that you tune in to see. They're the people who sell the tickets. And if Pat Mahomes goes down on a late hit, or Aaron Rodgers or Joe Burrow or any of those guys go down on a late hit, is going to have a negative impact on the league versus, you telling defenders, don't touch this guy.
Yeah, gotta look at it from both sides. Parents forced their kids to play, but some people just don't have the talent. But good luck to your kid, Suge. I hope he has. He thinks he has the talent, so
he might have the talent. We'll see.
He might have. I mean, I'm his dad. Of course, he's gonna have the talent. What do you expect? I'm talented. I realized when I got to high school that I might have been talented. I didn't have the size, and I was like, "No, I'm not playing football. That's not coaching. That's not." Yeah, it was hell. It was hell. And what's funny is that coach was my Pop Warner coach for 2 years, because I played flag, and again, greatest times of my life. I played flag with my two cousins. My uncle coached in a city, so we used his address. I was able to play with my two cousins, and we played for 2 years. Greatest time of my life, practicing and playing with my cousins. And then I moved to Pop Warner, played tackle football for 2 years. The last year I couldn't play because they said I weighed too much. They're like, you're too fat. You have to be this size under to play. And then I went to high school, played my freshman year, and then I was like, I'm going to wrestle because I'm not going up against a 6'5" guy and getting blown up. So I was like, I'll wrestle. And yeah, that was my end of my football career. I'm saying QB's getting bailed out because it's a QB-driven league. I mean, but it's not a bailout if it's a foul. Like, I hate that. I used to get into this with the Kansas City fans, and when we were playing them in the playoffs, and they called a holding call, and it's like, was that holding? And they're like, yeah, it's holding, but you can't call that at the end of the game. Well, if it's a foul, you have to call it.
Yeah, you call it.
Like, if it's not, and we've seen fouls not get called, and then you get mad. Well, you're not supposed to call it. I.e., Rams versus the Saints.
That's exactly what I was thinking when the dude ran over the receiver.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're not supposed to call it late in the game. Well,
yeah.
No, you need to call it. And that's the reason why, because it can cost someone the game. Like, we all saw that was a foul, but because the refs swallowed their whistles, it didn't get called. So now you're mad. You know what I'm saying? I remember I trolled somebody. I was like, "Oh, it wasn't a foul. They didn't call it." The blood vessels coming out of somebody. Could you imagine? They were like angry. They're about to have a heart attack. So,
I'm being a Panthers fan. I'm very familiar with the Saints. We play them twice a year, so I see him quite often. And honestly, I didn't see any contact on that play.
Exactly. That's how I feel about the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. Do we have some other news? But we'll get into this one, and then we're gonna be talking about it with when we preview the Steelers. But Giannis does not extend with the Bucks. Now there's rumors he might be coming out west. Maybe, I don't know if those are true. I would tell you what, me and Bronny would be happy.
Yeah.
But what does him not extending with the Bucks mean for the future of Giannis and the Bucks?
Well, it's smart of him because right now, I'm not trying to take anything away from Milwaukee and their championship, not at all, right? But
you're going to?
No, I'm not going to. But that year, every team in the West was hurt. Every team in the West was hurt, and that's how Phoenix got through. Right, and that's how they ended up winning their championship.
And you love Phoenix.
Would they have been able to beat some of those other teams? Maybe, maybe not. We won't know, right? But what we do know is that they haven't been back to that level since then, right? And right now, they just don't. They don't look like they have a real championship type team. They're a team that you kind of expect to go deep in the conference, but no, I don't think anybody looks at Milwaukee and says, "Man, that's one or two teams that are favored to win it." Right? And this past season, they got knocked out in the first round by Miami. So if you're Giannis and you have your one ring, and you're approaching 30, and now is winning time, right? This is your prime, and particularly for a player like Giannis, who, I mean, we're being honest, doesn't have a great jumper. And once his athleticism starts to go, he's not going to be nearly as effective offensively. I'm sure he wants to be on a championship contender every single year, through his prime. And, you do this to put some pressure on Milwaukee and say, hey, you need to improve this roster around me, or I'm going to be looking elsewhere.
Yeah. You know who else looked elsewhere when they were on the Bucks and won one championship?
Who's that, Suge?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And guess where he went?
Did he go to the Lakers?
And how many more championships did he win?
A lot.
Giannis, go to the Lakers.
I mean, it only makes sense. Listen, I'm not saying this because I'm a Lakers fan, but it is a destination for players, right? Because it is one of the marquee franchises in the NBA, and there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of, it seems like, I know this isn't true, but it feels like every great player passes through LA at some point. They have some of the greatest players of all time, wear that purple and gold. And if he's not happy in Milwaukee, I mean, where else would you want to go right now?
To the beach. Straight to the beach. But it's funny. It's not even like great players go there. It's great big men. Because for some reason, guards, we draft them. You draft Kobe, you draft Magic.
They didn't draft Kobe.
They traded for him. But he didn't go. But he never played for anybody else.
Yeah,
all the big guys though, Will, Kareem, Shaq, Pau Gasol, they all played. Dwight, they all played for different teams.
Yeah.
Technically, LeBron's a big guy. They all played for different teams and then came to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
AD, they all played for, again, they all played.
And Giannis would fit right in with them.
Yeah. So
can't wait for Nikola Jokic to end up in LA.
Oh, that'd be great. He'd love it. He wouldn't want to leave. I think he wants to play in a bigger market, possibly. I have a feeling he goes to the Knicks, or it's such an easy path to make it to the finals compared to the West. If you're a competitor though, and we've seen this, so you can't argue this. Competitors will go to the West to try to prove a point, like LeBron did. Like LeBron could have stayed in the East, and he was like, "No, I want to go to the West." Shaq, same thing. He went. He knew Hakeem was. Maybe Hakeem had probably left the league, but Duncan was out there. Robinson was out there. I think players will. I don't think that's a a thing where they go, I want to go somewhere else because I don't want to play against talent. I think they go toward playing.
I'm not sure that the East is a much easier path than the West at this point anyway. I know obviously you have Denver, but I'm not one of the people who thinks that Denver has a budding dynasty or anything. Like I don't like the rest of their roster outside of Jokic as much as other people do apparently. But you have Boston in the East. You still got Philly in the East with Embiid, and I mean we'll see what they end up doing with Harden. You got Miami in the East. So I don't think it's much easier to go out west. Right. And to his other point, I don't think he wouldn't be second fiddle to LeBron. He's a better player than LeBron now.
And LeBron would probably be. I think LeBron would be if he played out this year and then decided to go. I think LeBron would be out the door. I think he would either be retiring or going to back to the Cavs to try to get his son to play with him. To hopefully get drafted.
Yeah, wherever he can convince somebody to draft his son, assuming he's still going down that road after the
we don't even know what's happening. We haven't heard anything.
Well they said that he's cleared to go back to basketball, but I mean you never know, right? I'm sure that had to be a terrifying thing. He's already rich. I mean, independently of his father, he's already made millions of dollars. So I mean, maybe he doesn't want to risk that. Having gone through that episode, we'll see. But even if he went right now today to the Lakers, he's not second fiddle to LeBron. He's a better player than LeBron.
Go to the
at
Magic.
This point.
Okay, Yolanda.
Magic.
Brandon, you wish. All right, let's get into
garbage ass Suns.
Let's get into Steelers versus the 49ers. Now, I said that we were going to talk about some news that is going on right now. Currently, defensive defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa, is not signed a contract or an extension with the 49ers. So right now he is holding out. It is only Tuesday, so there still could be a deal done, but it looks like there's a possibility that he may not play. Also, George Kittle is dealing with a groin injury and possibly
George Kittle's hurt.
Yeah.
Can't believe
it. Are you shocked, Rodney? Can I see your shocked face?
Shocked. That's it right there.
So, with that being said, Niners still have a good defense. They're still the favorites in this game. I actually picked them to win this game against the Steelers. And remember wife's birthday, 10/23/93. I remembered wife's birthday. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. 10/23/93. Okay. So that's October 23rd, 1993. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Turning 30 year.
There we go. Appreciate it. Even though I still picked them, I still have confidence that the Steelers are going to be able to play a good game. The question is, to me, the big point of this game is which second-year quarterback's going to make the big mistake. And I was saying this on TikTok, responding to 49ers fans. When did they really buy into Purdy? Because they're acting like it's the second coming of Aaron Rodgers. Like he's great. They traded and the organization is kind of treating it like that too, because they traded their high draft pick quarterback out to Dallas for chump change after they gave up everything for him. So to me, it's which QB, because I think both defenses are going to play great. I think you do have Christian McCaffrey. You do have Najee Harris. I would probably obviously put Christian McCaffrey ahead of Najee. Excuse me. Offensive line, 49ers. So can Steelers offensive line protect Kenny, and can Kenny not make mistakes? And also for Brock Purdy, because the Steelers defense is no slouch. So kind of just give us your overall thoughts on the game, and then we'll pick a score and a winner. But just give me your overall thoughts on what you think, how this game is going to go down.
Yeah, so the 49ers obviously are pretty deep on defense. But Nick Bosa potentially being out is still a big deal for them. D line in there in terms of their ability to get to Pickett and their ability to play the run. I think that it really is, like you said, going to come down to which of the second year quarterbacks plays better. And honestly, if I have to pick one, I'm rolling with Pickett in that. I've never been big, really high on Brock Purdy. I think that last year he was more of a just make the easy throw and don't mess it up kind of quarterback, which is fine when you have that amount of talent on offense. But again, like you said, George Kittle may be a little banged up. And I think that, Minka Fitzpatrick or maybe even Joey Porter, gets Brock at least once in this game. And I think that what we've seen from Kenny Pickett in the preseason, he looks really confident. He looks, more under control and just a better overall player than what we saw in the second half of last season. And I think that you're going to see the connection between him and George Pickens early and often in this one.
Yeah. And then he goes on and throws 5 interceptions in this game. And Brock Purdy throws like 5 touchdowns. And we just look like morons right now. That would be depressing. That would be depressing. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Again, last year, I understood the hype. People were like, okay, yeah, Brock Purdy, what he's doing. But it's like now teams have tape on him. Now teams are like, all right, let's prepare for this guy. Can he make that now the adjustment that now defense are going to be prepared from? You're also dealing with the ball hawk and Minka Fitzpatrick. You're also dealing with TJ Watt, who George Kittle said when he was going to play the Steelers that he'll be able to block TJ Watt by himself, and when it actually needs some help. I don't know if you want to say that. Is this extra motivation for TJ? He did miss a lot of the season last year, got hurt in the first game. So does he want to come and show out? He's looked great. He's looked pretty decent in the preseason. I don't want to say great because Bronny will then say, well, who did you play? It's preseason. So I'm not going to say that. But he has looked good. And what I've seen when I see these guys doing podcasts together and talking, I see a real cohesive group. I won't say they're the 2000s Steelers defense, but the togetherness, how close they are, where you don't hear a lot of like bickering or I'm a star, just this and that. It's a lot of just togetherness. And I'm really getting that from this defense. And I hope that it shows on the field. Now, again, Kenny Pickett, can he not make mistakes? What he showed in the preseason, obviously this is against a totally different animal in the defense, and they are amazing. He just has not to make mistakes. And if he can do that, maybe they can win this game. We'll have to see. My worry is Christian McCaffrey. The Steelers defense, their run defense, can they slow him down running the ball or catching the ball? That is where this game for me is going to be won and lost. Is can you keep Christian McCaffrey in check? Can you keep him under rushing yards? Can you keep him from catching the ball out the backfield? And then try to just limit Deebo Samuel. I think if you're able to do that, then the Steelers have a chance to win. But we will see. We already got a score prediction: 27-20 Steelers for the Steelers. Appreciate that, Jeremy. Excuse me. Also, D'Amico Ryans. They don't have D'Amico Ryans, so excuse me, I'm choking over here. They don't have D'Amico Ryans, so we might be able to expose the defense. I mean, that would be great, but we'll see what happens. That is a great score prediction, Jeremy, from Yolanda. No more AB TikTok dancing videos. I mean, it wasn't really AB. AB really wasn't doing a lot of TikTok dancing videos. It was more Smith Schuster, but that really hasn't been a thing. That was more offensively. Just defensively, it's always been a little rough. Like it always felt there was like something wrong there. And this last 2 years, I haven't seen, especially since Minka came in. I haven't really seen that. Had that feeling with this defense, but we will definitely see. Bronny, give me a score prediction.
I had to say it, but I'm going to roll Jeremy on this one. I'm going to take Pittsburgh 27-20. To your point about Christian McCaffrey and can you slow him down? Can you contain him and all that? Obviously going to be very difficult. He's one of the best players in the league, regardless of position. But that's where you got to rely on the guys that you have in that front seven, and T.J. Watt and Highsmith and Cam Hayward to kind of step up and do their thing. And I'm gonna say they do just enough.
There you go. Appreciate it. I think for me, I'm going to roll the opposite way. I'm going to say 17-14 49ers. I think it's going to be a last-minute field goal. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think Kenny's going to throw for about 225, 230. Probably have one touchdown or maybe two, but he'll have an interception. I think Brock Purdy will probably do the same, and it'll just come down to a last-minute field goal because Christian McCaffrey was able to get on a breakout or a screen and get them in the field goal range. So I think it's 17-14 for me going in the 49ers direction.
Now, I do want to be clear that if Nick Bosa is playing, that does change my prediction because I don't think that they would be able to protect Pickett with Bosa out there.
True.
So
I think they'll do a good. I think they'll be able to do a serviceable job. But I think you're right.
But with no Nick Bosa, taking the Steelers.
All right. Let's see what we got in the chat. The blocking scheme, Shanahan dials up. Watt could be a non-factor. I mean, we'll see. A lot of what I've been seeing is people are saying, well, they're going to double team him. Trent Williams is going to move to that side, which is not his normal side, I believe. I think Trent's a left tackle, and TJ plays more on the right or possibly the left. But then that opens it up for Alex Highsmith. If he's been able to live up to the challenge of being on the other side of TJ Watt. So we'll see what happens. Wow, I have more faith in your Steelers than you do. No, it's not that I don't have faith. I'm thinking just logically what I like. I don't want to have this high expectation that Kenny's going to come out and throw 350, 3 touchdowns. Like, I don't want to, even though I think he's looked great in the preseason. That was the preseason. You're playing against probably the number one defense from last year. You're playing the number one defense from last year and probably a top 5 defense again this year. Yes, if they miss Nick Bosa, I still think they're a top defense. But if Nick Bosa, like Brady said, if Nick Bosa is playing, how are you going to be able to? Are you going to be able to block? Are you going to be able to keep him from hitting Pickett? Are you going to, what are you going to do? And that's what I need to see. I got to see if Matt Canada is able to protect Pickett and hopefully keep him out of making mistakes, because that's where mistakes come when Nick Bosa is able to get in on the quarterback. You make bad throws or you hold the ball too long and you get fumble recoveries and things like that. So that is my main concern. Has Matt Canada changed? I don't think the defense is the problem. I'm not worried about Brock Purdy, to be honest with you. I'm worried about offensively. Have we grown? Has Matt Canada learned from his mistakes? And if Nick Bosa plays, can they protect Kenny? If they're able to do that, then we have a good chance of winning. If not, then I don't think we're going to win. And that's not saying we don't have faith in my Steelers or in the players. I don't think I have faith in the offensive coordinator. So that's my concern.
Say this: if there's any time to be irrationally high on your team's chances, it's week 1.
I mean, the last 2 years they've played really good teams. They played Buffalo, they played Cincinnati, and we won every time. So take that as you will.
There you go.
I will give Tomlin this. Tomlin will always play up to his competition, but for some reason our team also plays down to our competition. When we play the Browns or we play a bad team, we tend to struggle. Detroit, when we tied them or lost to them, when we tied the Browns, like we always play down to our competition, but we always get up for big games, and for some reason we show up. Other than Buffalo last year, we got blown out, but we'll see. We will definitely see. And Jeremy says his score prediction was based off of Bosa does not play, so make sure that's cleared up. That if Bosa not plays, Steelers are winning. All right, let's go to your other favorite team, Rodney.
No, that's not them. I have one favorite team, and that is also not them.
Versus Houston Texans. Now, I will say, and maybe Yolanda will say, no, that's not true, but y'all Ravens fans have been disrespecting the Texans.
Yep.
calling this a preseason game. Don't have to worry about it. Um, they're not worried. Uh, Lamar didn't play the whole preseason, so this will be a tune-up game for him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you shouldn't do that in disrespect, and I felt Lamar should at least played one preseason game, maybe just a quarter or a half, but he didn't play. What are your expectations for this Ravens team offensively for this game?
I think they're going to struggle a bit offensively for that exact reason. It's not the fans saying that this is going to be a preseason game or a tune-up game. It's the organization saying that because they didn't play, not even just Lamar, they didn't play any starters in the preseason at all. It seems like they looked at their schedule and said, "Oh, it's just Houston. We'll get in the rhythm then." You have a lot of new players on offense. You have a new offensive coordinator, and they should have, tried to get them on the field to get them on the same page, but they thought it wasn't a big deal. They're playing a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback, and what was one of the worst teams in the league last year. So they figure they got it, and Vegas thinks so too. They've been a double-digit favorite coming into week one, but I think it's going to be much closer than that. I think the offense is going to struggle, and I think they're going to struggle a bit defensively as well. Marlon Humphrey probably not playing. Their depth at corner is bad. You take Marlon Humphrey out of the equation, those guys cannot cover. So I think for me, I'm still taking the Ravens because they have Lamar Jackson, and I think Odell will be closer to Giants Odell than to Cleveland Odell. I think that Zay Flowers, he looked phenomenal when we got to see him in the preseason. So I think they have enough talent, and having Lamar on your team is going to tip the scales in your favor. But I'm saying it's going to be 2017. Late Justin Tucker field goal wins it.
All right. Yeah, I I totally agree with you. I think it was I'm not gonna say it was a mistake that they didn't play Lamar, but I do think it's gonna hinder them a little bit. We also need to see what this offense is gonna be like. Because this is a new offensive coordinator. Supposedly they're gonna be passing the ball a lot, and can Odell be closer to Giants Odell than he was to Cleveland? Even if he's Rams Odell, that was a decent Odell, especially in that Super Bowl. So if he could be that, then yeah, I think that's going to be a problem. And if Zay Flowers is as good as advertised, then yeah, definitely they'll have an explosive offense. But we'll see. I think the first half don't expect a lot of scoring from the Ravens, but the second half, I would say that's when you're going to see maybe 2 touchdowns from Lamar, and maybe a touchdown run there. So I think it's going to be. I'll say I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I would say like 27-17, like a 10-point game, like where it's close but not where you're really worried about it. I think that the Ravens are going to be able to score, and I think because this is a new rookie quarterback, the depth of corner is not going to be so obvious. You might see flashes, but if this was any other team, then I would be worried. But because it's the Texans and a rookie quarterback, I'm optimistic to say that the Ravens should be able to mask their corner issues. But if Texas come out firing, then there might be some trouble. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Miss Yolanda she did. She gave it to me. Before that, Jeremy Miller says 31-14. Wow. He's saying F the Texans. I think the Ravens will win, but the margin of the victory will be slim, 30-27. Okay, so you expect a high scoring game. My biggest concern is Odell, but Zay Flowers should have a big day. If no one else scores on the Ravens, it's going to be Mark Andrews. I'm also expecting a big game from Bateman. What about James Prochet? Think James Prochet going to show up?
Well, and that's the other thing, like Jeremy mentioned, Mark Andrews hasn't been practicing. He's missed at least 6 or 7 practices in a row. They say they're expecting him to practice tomorrow, but is he going to be 100% for the game? What kind of shape is he going to be in? We don't really know at this point. And I think there's just a lot of lot of question marks for the Ravens rolling into week 1.
Very much so. If they lose this game, Bronny,
Mm-hmm.
are the Ravens panicking?
No. Again, they didn't play anybody in the preseason. It's a brand new offense. You got a lot of new receivers in particular. They got a new starter on the O-line. They have a lot of turnover on defense, and they're missing Marlon Humphrey. Rocky Sin, we'll see if he's 100%. They just brought in Ronald Darby. So major question marks at their, top 3 corners there. A lot of turnover on the D-line. And, it's early in the season. You can see a lot of crazy things happen in week 1, right? So even if they did lose this game, I would expect them to round into form very, very quickly. Marlon Humphrey comes back, and that I think will fix the issues in the secondary for the most part, and they'll be fine moving forward. But everybody overreacts to week 1 just because you haven't had football for so long, and now, oh my God, my team lost. We're the worst team in the league.
Did you not see what happened to TCU this week?
Here's the thing about TCU. TCU is not very good.
Everybody overreacts. All right. Let's move to your third favorite team.
Wow.
The Falcons. Panthers versus the Falcons. Rodney, this is your team. The era of Bryce Young starts and the era of a new regime begins. First off, how excited are you to have a new? We were just, conversating. When was the last great Panthers quarterback? And you just looked me dead in the eye and said there hasn't been one other since Cam Newton. So how excited are you for hopefully to have your next, quarterback of your franchise?
I'm very excited for Bryce Young. I think that the numbers weren't great in the preseason, but I think most of that was the offensive line. I think if you really watched Bryce Young, I think he showed that he has the ability to be exactly what we all thought he would be coming into the league. So I'm extremely excited about Bryce Young. Less excited about the offensive line and the receivers, but kind of hoping that they worked out all the bugs in the offense in the preseason. And we still haven't seen. You didn't really see Miles Sanders in the preseason at all. He was hurt, but he's ready to go now. So hopefully the offense will be much smoother than what it was in the preseason.
Okay. And now the Falcons. I was talking to somebody today about this. The Falcons to me is that really sleeper team because of the talent that they have.
Mm-hmm.
It really kind of shows up with the running backs they have, the wide receiver, that young talent. They could be a sleeper team. So this is gonna be a test for you guys right off the bat. How do you think your defense will fare against that offensive talent?
Yeah, this is a very big game for Carolina and Atlanta. We talked about the division last season and how Tampa won it at 8-9. Everybody else was 7-10. And like you said, it for them it comes down to Desmond Ridder and whether or not he can show up and take advantage of Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan and Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algier and even Mac Hollins at that number 2 receiver position. I think that the Panthers defense is going to struggle with the playmakers that Atlanta has. Bijan, obviously he hasn't played in the NFL yet, but he looks like he doesn't really have any weaknesses in his game. He looks like he can pretty much do it all. Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algier were both 1,000-yard rushers prior to this. Cordero is somebody you can kind of move around and use in gimmick plays and everything like that. He's a great athlete and great in the open field. And Carolina may be without Brian Burns, who is by far the best player on their defense. He is kind of holding out at this point, or holding in, they say, because he's with the team. He's just not participating. trying to get his new contract signed. And if Carolina is dumb enough to allow him to miss any games contract after they turn down a couple first round picks, in a trade, I don't even know what to say. Like it's a new owner, it's a new GM, it's a new coach, whole new regime, and you're still making the same stupid mistakes that you made with the prior regime. As soon as they didn't trade him to the Rams for those 2 first round picks, you have to give him whatever he wants in the contract. Now the talk is that he may be looking for about $30 million a year, and they're offering closer to 23. You're just gonna take that L. I mean, you're not gonna turn down 2 first round picks and then trade him later because you're not gonna get that offer again, right? You're not gonna let him walk. You already made a public declaration of how important he is to the team by not taking that offer. So you just have to and they need to do it immediately because they need him for this game. I know it's week 1 and it is just the Falcons, but it's a bad division, but it's a close division. And they can't really afford to start off the season 0-1 with that loss being in division if they really want to contend for the division championship this year. Like I said, if Brian Burns doesn't play, I think it'll have to be a high scoring game for Carolina to win, because I don't think they'll be able to hold London, Pitts, and those 3 running backs in check.
Yeah, so if you think it's going to be a high scoring game, what is your expectations for Bryce Young and the offense?
Well, that's unfortunate because I don't really think the Panthers right now are in a position to score a lot of points. So I say it would have to be a high scoring game for them to win. I'm not sure that they are at this point capable of pulling that off. With the way the offensive line played in the preseason, particularly Aquanu, it's not really feasible for them to put that many drives together and score that many points because Bryce just did not have time back there, right? And the way that you would typically combat that is by running the ball a lot, and they do have a good running back in Miles Sanders, who they just brought in via free agency this offseason. But running the ball a lot is not conducive to scoring a lot of points. So they need to get Brian Burns signed. They're going to need to lock up on defense and win a lower scoring game. Now, I will say the other X factor here is obviously Desmond Ridder. I've got as close to zero faith in a player as you could possibly have. That's how much faith I have in Desmond Ridder. So that could derail Atlanta as well, right? But my expectation is that they will, with the type of playmakers that they have, they're going to make it easy for him to get the ball into their hands and let them do the heavy lifting.
Gotcha. All right. Well, give me a score prediction. What do you think the score is going to be?
I'm going to assume Carolina does the right thing and gets Brian Burns signed, and he's playing on Sunday. And I'm going to take Carolina, and I'm going to take the Panthers 24-17.
24-17. I'm gonna be right there with you, but I think it's gonna be 17-10. I think
I feel like that too, but like it's so hard to just not score points in the NFL. Like to score a decent number of points in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it'll be right in that range. Not a high scoring game for sure.
Yeah. Let me know if you have any predictions on this Panthers game and want to give out your score. All right. We're going for an hour now. It's very strange. It feels like we were here for 5 minutes. So we're going to get into some college football. Now, I'm going to try to talk some college football more this year. Real quick, Jeremy Miller says 24-21.
Hey, screw you, Jeremy.
And then never a bad thing to take the dog in a rivalry fight. There you go. Yolanda, go Gators. I'm trying to talk more college football, but the big story coming in out of this weekend was the 20-point underdog Colorado upsets TCU and is now number 21 in the power rankings. And for some of the action from this past weekend, I got some clips.
34-31 lead. Shador Sanders looking, throwing it deep. Sanders! And it's caught at the 40.
No, they're not in order. I apologize.
Third down, Morris. Intercepted. Wow! Travis Hunter.
That guy was excited about that interception.
3 receivers at the top of your screen. Morris over the middle and intercepted in the end zone. Trevor Woods picked it off, and Colorado.
They thought Deion got rid of all the white players. He didn't. Kept that dog.
Second down and 10. Sanders, here's a little screen, and they find Edwards. He breaks it back with running room on the move. Edwards down the sideline. Dylan Edwards, touchdown.
Now, Dylan Edwards did not have a great running day, only 24 yards. But he had 5 receptions, 135 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Travis Hunter, two-way player, 11 receptions, 119 yards. Xavier Weaver, 6 receptions, 118 yards. Jimmy Horn Jr., 11 receptions, 117 yards. Shakur Sanders, 38 for 40. Shador, sorry, my apologies. Shador Sanders, 38 for 47, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you heard this, Bronny, but I heard HBCU kids couldn't play in a Power 5 school. Yeah. Football's football. I don't care where you go. Football's football. He lit it up.
Mm-hmm.
And Colorado looks to have 2 players possibly early. It's early. Don't get me wrong, it's early, but 2 players in the Heisman Trophy talk. And 2 players that absolutely showed out. I know you haven't been the biggest fan of Deion during this whole process.
Yeah, no, I don't like Deion.
Yeah. But you got to admit what he did with Colorado on Saturday. I know you said TCU is not that great of a team, but expectations walking into a school's backyard and doing what you did with the talent that he overhauled, you got to be somewhat impressed of what he did and how those kids played for him.
Oh no, it was a fantastic win for Colorado, and that's the first time I've really watched Shador Sanders play. Like you said, he had a great game. Travis Hunter, I mean, he made a strong case in one game for being the best player in college football. Period. Right? They put on a great performance, but I do think that people are overreacting to it a bit. TCU was a playoff team last year, but they lost a lot of their players, a lot of their starters, and I mean, if we're being honest, they just don't look like a very good team. The defense looks slow. That quarterback, I'm not even sure the quarterback's name for TCU, but that guy
is more.
It does.
Morris. Colin Morris? Chandler Morris?
It doesn't matter what his name is. He is awful. And if they had a decent quarterback, I think they would have won that game. I mean, you said you had the clips of the 2 basically end zone interceptions. No way either one of those passes should have been thrown. I mean, I
will say this: Travis Hunter did drop 2 touchdowns, so I get what you're saying, but Sanders could have had 7 touchdowns had Travis Hunter not dropped 2. So I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But just saying.
No. Shador was phenomenal. Travis Hunter was great. I mean, we're gonna give him some grace on dropping passes when you're playing both ways, right? I think he made up for it by catching a pass on defense, right? But I'm not. Like I said, it's a great win for Colorado. They are the biggest and probably best story in college football right now. They're the most interesting thing going on in college football. I just saw earlier that they on I forget which site it was, but one particular betting site, they said they have more bets on Colorado for week 2 than any of the 32 NFL teams. They are who people want to see. That's what people are paying attention to. I just don't think that TCU is a great gauge of where Colorado is as a team because I don't think TCU is very good. but it's a long season, and
Yeah.
so we'll see how they.
Well, let me
how
ask
they
you a question.
perform.
You're gonna be pulling from them next week because they go against your old coach, Matt Rule, in Nebraska.
Listen. I don't hold. I'm not like Ravens fans. I don't hold any ill will towards the coach once they're gone. Matt Rule is gone. I couldn't care less what happens, and he already picked up a devastating L in week 1. So I don't care what happens with him. But if we're being honest, I'll just put it out there now. I think Colorado beats the brakes off of Nebraska.
I will say this, and you're talking about just the story wise. If Colorado has a winning record, undefeated, going into that USC game, that's probably going to be the biggest college game this year or
Yeah, in probably a while.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I'll just put this out there now. I think USC destroys them. But we'll see.
I mean, could you imagine though? You have a shootout between Caleb Williams and Sanders.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it'll actually be a shootout because I don't think that they're a 40-point a week offense like they look like against TCU, right?
You think TCU is not that good?
I do, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Colorado. They looked fantastic, but I don't think that they would be able to do that against some of the better teams in the country. Is what I'm saying. Because I don't think that TCU was actually were worthy of the ranking that they had.
Fair enough. I mean, but do you believe that Colorado's worthy of their ranking? I mean, they're number 21. That's not, it's nice. They're in the top 25. If they can keep in that range and move up a little bit, they could get a bowl game.
I think it's fine. I personally I don't think that they should be ranking teams until after at least say 4 weeks, so you can kind of get an idea of where teams are. But if you're gonna do the every week, the preseason rankings and then the changing them every week, putting them in the rankings after beating the number 17 team in the country is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think the story wise is a great story. Like I said, there was literal just videos of people like, oh, Sanders, he's not gonna be able to play quarterback in a Power 5 school, and and he just the throws were beautiful. I didn't even get the throw that he threw to Travis Hunter. It was a beautiful throw. Just threw it up there. Travis Hunter went and got it, but it was a beautiful in the area and needed to be throw. And you can't teach that. And you're not going to sit there and say, well, he can't do that against this kind of school. And then he does it. But then people are like, well, this and that. And it's like, come on, give the guy his flowers. He played great. If he goes out there and he destroys Nebraska and if he goes out there and destroys Nebraska and then continues to just do it against, because you're not going to see a lot of, they're going to see like,
they're not going to play a lot of good teams.
Yeah. And again, if they get to USC and they're like undefeated or like a 1-loss team, like that game is going to be huge.
Listen, I don't even really I don't enjoy watching college football anymore, and I'll be tuned in for that game.
Yeah. I'm tuning in for next week's game, but if they're undefeated or close like a 1-loss, maybe even a 2-loss team, yeah, people are definitely going to turn into that game, and that's probably they'll probably move it to a primetime game. Yeah. If they move college, I don't know if they do that or not. Disappointed in Clemson, you don't lose to Duke football. I'm not JF Clemson. 510 yards in your first game and break the record madness. Yeah. Colorado takes on make Rule next week. I need Shakur.
So I don't think that they're going to be undefeated. I'm looking at their schedule now. They have Nebraska next week, which I think that's a big win. Then they got Colorado State, which I think should also be another big win. But I would expect them to lose to Oregon the following week. And I think that I think people will be calmed down quite a bit on the Colorado story after playing Oregon and USC in back-to-back weeks. That would be my expectation. Now, if they can come out of that, Oregon. I was saying if they come out of that, winning one of those games, or even both of those games, or even just being really competitive in both those games, then it's a whole different thing. But I kind of expect them to get blown out by Oregon and USC.
I root for Dion as a Cowboys fan, but honestly, he's a good dude. I like what he represents for the black coaches because it's more needed. Bridie, do you agree with
I do not, but that's all right.
that? You don't agree with that, Brodney?
I don't. I don't agree with saying he's there to build the HBCUs and he wants to build something in the SWAC and everything, and then bolting for the first offer you get. I don't. I think Dion's a con man, but one of the greatest football players of all time, and looks like a very, very capable coach at the least. And we'll see, how far that goes, with his time in Colorado and wherever else he ends up. But he knows what he's doing for sure.
I think he wants more black coaches. I just think he wants.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jeremy, we're not going to go too far into it, but amazing that's what you took from the statement that I made. Incredible.
Usually I'm the one that makes statements like that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, into our before we get into SDV talk. Now, Bronny
put together the definitive list, and you can go ahead and get yours out of the way before we tell people the correct answer.
No, we'll do yours first. He was joking, Bronny.
Yeah, okay. I bet you were. That's cool.
Top 5 movie QBs, but Bronny threw some TV QBs in it. So I want you to
don't listen. You see what you're doing right now? Don't do that.
What?
I'm just talking about TV QB. What you're doing is, let's top 5 college quarterbacks, but he threw a couple of HBCU quarterbacks in there. That's what you're trying to do right now, right? They are on the same level. And listen, it's harder to carry a TV show than it is a movie.
I told you HBC don't belong in college football, okay? You're over here putting them in there. No. All right, here's your list. Can you break it down for me? Starting with number 5. Vince Howard.
Number 5 and number 4 kind of go together. Both from the TV show Friday Night Lights, Vince Howard and Matt Saracen. Matt Saracen is the guy who took over for Jason Street, who also could have made the list if he didn't get paralyzed so very early in the series. But he took over for him, and was the starting quarterback on a high school state championship team. He's kind of the not as gifted but really gritty type of quarterback, and just did everything the coaches asked and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Vince Howard is kind of the opposite. He's the stereotypical super gifted black quarterback, very athletic, didn't really know how to play the game, and the coach kind of fought with him and kind of brought him along and taught him how to play. It's the only time, like I told you before, that you'll hear me praise Michael B. Jordan. I thought he was okay in this series, and still not great, but okay. But Vince Howard, very, very talented. Matt Saracen is kind of the glue guy that everybody wants on their team. So moving on to number 2 and 3, also kind of go together, both from Any Given Sunday. We all know Willie Beeman. He's steaming Willie Beeman.
Willie Beeman.
He is the very egotistical QB for the Miami Sharks, playing for Al Pacino. Famously, tried to fight LL Cool J. Then the disrespected his teammates, and the O-line wouldn't block for him, all this stuff. But he learned how to be a leader. He brought it back towards the end of the season, and then he bolted with Al Pacino at the end of the movie. He had taken over for Cap Rooney, who is now played by Dennis Quaid, and my God, that dude was like 55 when he played that role, and I don't know why you had him play NFL quarterback at that point. But he was the your prototypical quarterback. He's the best leader. He was a winner. He everybody ran through a brick wall for him. They all loved him and everything. But I thought that despite his advanced age, Dennis Quaid did a good job with that role. But I think unquestioned in cinema history, the number 1 quarterback of all time is Footsteps Falco, played by Keanu Reeves in The Replacements. A guy who
was a horrible pitcher.
Who was a great college quarterback who saw his career kind of blow up in one terrible performance in a bowl game. And that's how I got the nickname Footsteps, because he got shell shocked after getting hit so many times in that game, and always, was kind of seeing ghosts, as Sam Darnold famously said. But during the strike, he got an opportunity to come back, and he found his game again, and he led the ragtag group, brought them together as a team, and started winning again. I think he did Keanu's not a great actor either. We all love Keanu, very charismatic guy, but not the best actor. But I think he did a great job in that role.
You say that, and I was thinking about it the other day. How many movies, blockbuster movies has he done now? He's done The Matrix. He's done John Wick, Speed, John Constantine. Remember Hardball? That was a great movie. He's so he might not be the greatest actor, but he does great.
Point Break,
Bill and Ted Days, yeah.
Johnny Mnemonic.
All right, my list. Honorable mention: Johnny Utah. Give me 2. Number 6. But I couldn't bring him to put him in my top 5. But starting with my number 5, she only played quarterback for part of the game, but she brought a team back to win, and that is Icebox Becky O'Shea. Okay, she was dropping dimes, and she played better than the quarterback before her because he wasn't doing anything really, and she had to bring him back, and she played that in a cheerleader outfit, and some Reeboks. So she's my number 5. My number 4. Not only was he a great football player for the Jets, but he saved the world.
Oh, God damn it, man.
Flash Gordon. Okay. Flash Gordon.
The hero of the universe.
Yes.
Hey, I have a question. How come you got all the pictures for all your picks, but not mine?
We're not going to talk about that. Well, technically, I have 2 picks of yours, but we're not going to talk about that.
You only Flash put Gordon. Up one.
Yeah, but there's another one. Okay.
Wow.
My number 3. And I think if this guy doesn't have that knee injury, he goes on undefeated and wins the Coyotes their state championship. Lance Harbor. Okay. He had everything going for him. Look, he was a good-looking guy, great quarterback.
Why was that first on your list?
Was that?
I said, why was that first on your list?
No, he's number 3.
No, why was he's a good-looking guy first on your list? Because
he's the best-looking guy in this quarterback list. Okay, the man had everything going for him, and then the coach just absolutely screwed him over. And they became and John Moxon was going to be up here, but he really rode the coattails of Brown, the running back. So. Lance Harbor was the real quarterback. All right. Number 2, I have to agree with you.
Coattails of Smash Williams too, but he still got it done.
Very true. I agree with you here. Willie being number 2, and obviously number 1, Shane Falco with that whole picture. So I agree with you there.
You had the picture of Willie Beeman and didn't put him up for my list. That's amazing.
Yeah, I did. Now that I think about it, I should have done that. All right.
Incredible. Thank you, Suge.
It's that time. SVD talk. A game came out this weekend, Brodney. It came out Thursday. People get to play it tonight. It is called Starfield. Not Stardew Valley, Starfield. But a lot of people have been playing it. A lot of crazy things. I sent you some TikToks already where you can find some legendary gear, a legendary ship. Yeah. You can build your own ship. Yes. This is open world. It is the people that made Skyrim. It's not open world. No?
It's open universe.
Open.
You can go to many, many different planets.
Open universe.
Yes.
But you can excuse me. It is a game that was created from the makers of Skyrim, and then Fallout, I believe.
Yes, the Elder Scrolls series, which Skyrim is the latest entry, and Fallout as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we have gotten this game, and just give me a breakdown of what you've seen so far and how much you've enjoyed it.
For this game, like you said, it's from the makers of Skyrim. It's kind of almost a cross between Skyrim and like a Mass Effect. If you don't know, if you're not familiar, Elder Scrolls is kind of a medieval fantasy. Fallout is a future apocalypse kind of a setting, and now Starfield is out in space. Everybody has to leave. Earth is evacuated. Through I think it was. I haven't gotten the exact answer, but I think it's kind of climate change related. Why humans can't live on Earth anymore. But you're out. There's multiple factions, like always in Bethesda games, and they're almost main stories in and of themselves. So you have like the main quest line where you're finding these artifacts and nobody really knows what they are. You're trying to hunt them down and collect all of them and see if you can kind of piece it together, the mystery of what the artifacts are and what they do. And then there's a bunch of other storylines. You can join this pirate faction. You can join essentially you can join the military. Right now, I had actually found a kiosk in the game and just went over to read about this company, Ryujin Industries, and there was a job application. I put in the application, and now I'm doing kind of corporate espionage for them. So there's really anything that you want to do, you can do. You can be a miner and just kind of collect resources and sell them. You can actually learn how to. There's one drug in the game that's legal on one particular planet. Okay?
Is it cocaine?
It is Aurora. Okay, it's legal on the planet or in the city called Neon, right? And so what you can do, you can go there and you can buy it legally, and then you can try and smuggle it off the planet because you're not allowed to leave the planet with it. But you can smuggle it off planet and take it other places and sell it, so you can kind of be a drug dealer. Or you can actually learn how to produce it yourself, and you can just set up outposts and producing drugs and just be a intergalactic drug dealer. You can, like I said, you can be in the military. You can be a ranger, kind of just going around. You can be a bounty hunter. I mean, there's really no limit to the things that you can do, right? And you mentioned like a legendary ship. I found a legendary ship very early on in the game, and the story behind that ship, it is the Mantis. The ship is not the Mantis. Which is something that I was kind of confused about until after I got it. What it is kind of a space Batman. The Mantis, they have a lair, and it's kind of like the Bat Cave, and it's heavily booby trapped and all this stuff. And you have to kill all the space pirates who are there, and you got to solve a bunch of puzzles, kill these robots, and then you kind of inherit the Mantis's ship and the Mantis's outfit, which is what I've been wearing since then. And it's great because the story of the Mantis is that they go around and they hunt down the pirates, they hunt down what they call the spacers, and they're out there just trying to protect people. And so now there's times when you kind of jump into a system, a solar system, that there'll be pirates there or whatever, and they'll just kind of attack you on sight. Now if you jump into places with the name of the ship is Razorleaf. But it's the Mantis' ship. If you jump in with in the Mantis' ship, sometimes they'll recognize it and just run away. You'll hear them over comms like, "Oh my God, it's the Mantis," and they jump out of the system real quick before you can do anything. So it's just kind of cool to have that aspect of it. But like you said, you can kind of customize your ships any way you want. I added a whole third deck to the Mantis' ship. I'm having trouble with the name because I actually renamed it Ronin. I had my niece was here and she picked the name, which she said it's ridiculous because she was like, "Oh, why don't we name it Ronin?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool, because those are traveling samurai, right?" She named it Ronin because it's the name of a Taylor Swift song, which I didn't know until after we changed the name. But whatever. I let her actually design the ship because you can paint it however you want. You can paint like each and every component. So I'm rolling around in a pink, purple, and black spaceship right now. Got to get that taken care of as soon as this show's over. But it's a lot of fun, and you run into just a lot of kind of what they call like emergent storylines. Just going out and doing whatever. Like I told you before, I was on my way to rescue a member of our explorers group. And when I went to the planet where I was supposed to go pick him up, that's when a Navy ship just came into view, and they hit you up on the comms, and they're like, "Listen, we're taking you in. Come quietly, or we're gonna blow you up." And I'm thinking maybe this is part of the quest that I'm doing or something. So I was like, "All right, I'll come quietly." And they're like, "Yeah, you're a criminal, and we're gonna need you to infiltrate the pirate organization and get us some evidence on the pirates to bring them down." And so that's kind of what I'm doing now as well. Like they just turn you loose, and they're like, "We'll pay you for every piece of evidence that you find, being like computer files or logs or whatever." So there's everybody starts at the same place. You start out as a minor, and they kind of set you on the main path, and then you can really go anywhere that you want with the game after that. Which is a kind of a hallmark of Bethesda's, open world RPGs. So if you've played Fallout or you've played Skyrim or any of the other Elder Scrolls games, it's a lot like that, just in a future sci-fi setting. So if you like those games, you're gonna love Starfield.
Yeah, Jeremy. There's always gonna be dumbasses. Like, who cares about pronouns? The game, like, just dumb. Doom are my favorite. Doom and Wolfenstein is my favorite. How many hours have you put into the game so far, Bronny?
I don't know, but a lot. I started playing Thursday at like 8:30, and I played, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours that night. And then, I was off Friday, and so I played it a lot on Friday. I didn't play it as much, Saturday and Sunday because the kids were here, but I got to put in a few hours as well, and then I played a little bit today. If I had to guess, I would say, maybe 15 plus hours so far.
Not bad. Seems like a fun game. Got to make time for it. Yep. Corporation over Pirate King.
I'm gonna do both, Jay. That's the thing about Bethesda games. Like in
Restart.
in Skyrim, you could become the Emperor of Skyrim, the King of Skyrim. You could be the head of the Mages School. You could be the head of the Assassins Guild, the head of the Thieves Guild. You can be all those at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're just really they give you multiple kind of main quests, and you can just go do whatever you want.
Yeah. Ryan O'Connor type player. Uncle Jay says, "Oh, awesome, Uncle." There you go. Yeah, I am excited to start. I'm probably going to start tonight. I'm working from home tomorrow, so I'm probably going to be playing it all night. Probably won't.
Don't see why we're live, right? Why do you say stuff like that?
What do you mean?
You're going to be working tomorrow.
No, I said I'm going to play tonight, and I'm going to probably not. I'm working at home from home tomorrow, so I'm probably not going to go to sleep, and I'll play it all day tonight, all night tonight.
Okay, all day tonight, huh?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say. But I have seen I've been watching some live Twitch accounts. Was watching some TikToks on it. It seemed very, very fun. A lot of people were enjoying it. Seemed very, very like there's just a lot to do, so you're not bored.
There's so much to do. In the beginning of the game, I'm gonna throw this out there to you. Really low advice. Jose didn't do this. I did, and I thought it was a terrible decision at first, but it turned out that it's a great decision. You get to pick 3 traits at the beginning, okay? And one of them, I forget what it's called, but one of them gives you a dream home on a peaceful planet in some system for 125,000 credits. That's the mortgage, and it's like you got to pay every week. And at first I thought it was you had to pay 125,000 every week, and I was like, oh man, I'm screwed. But you don't have to pay every week. You just say if you go to the house, credits to go in, right? And then once you get 125,000, it has to be all together. You get 125,000 credits, you just pay it off, and the house is yours. And what I found out is all of the other homes in Starfield, like the apartments, penthouses, actual houses, everything, cost way more than the dream house that you get at the beginning for that trait. So I would advise taking that one.
All right. I've heard that there's like this abandoned casino you can go to, and you can get unlimited or some money there if you win. You get the jackpot.
Yeah, I looked that one up. Like I read like a guide about it, and the amount of credits that you get, or that it said you get, was not worth going. It just wasn't enough. I'm big time, so I don't. Yeah.
You want all the credits. All right. Well, I'll probably be streaming that. I don't know when I'll start, but I'll definitely be doing it as soon as possible. Last Saturday was a Friday. I streamed and was playing Fortnite and things like that. So now me and Jay will be playing some Fortnite together, running some duos and trios and 4 and 5, whatever you can run in Fortnite. But before we get out of here, because we've been here for an hour and a half, and both of us want to get to playing some Starfield. Ronnie, let the people know where they can find you, where they can find all your content at.
Yeah, you can find me over on Lunch Break Hot Take. We do a live show every Wednesday evening at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, and we follow that up with the Overtime Show. You can also find me on Ring Kings podcast, where we cover exclusively boxing. We typically live stream after any major. We've got the pound for pound list still upcoming. We got to find the time to actually record. It's been a pretty busy summer, so I haven't had the time to really get together and do that. But we're gonna get that recorded soon, and we're gonna record multiple episodes because there's a lot that's been going on. You can also find me Monday nights at 9 p.m. over on Sip to Tally Films for the Ravens Roundup with Coach Evans, my brother Jose, Hendo, Chris from Deep Cover Pod, and OTR Mike from Open Mic with OTR Mike. And I believe that is it.
Yep. And for me, you can find me here Tuesdays for Still Conspiracy at 6:15 PST. You can find me at Suge Knight 1323 on Twitch, where I'm usually playing. We'll be playing Fortnite, Starfield, Apex, and Hearthstone. Gonna cut down a little bit on the Magic content for some personal reasons, so I won't be playing any tournaments anytime soon. So if you were looking forward to that, I apologize, but I won't be doing that anymore. You could also find me starting very soon on a Friday, where we will be doing Late Night with Suge and Amber. That will be live, and that will be very soon. The only reason we didn't do it this Friday is because I got sick. And damn kids shared their cooties with me, so I was sick all this weekend. Tomorrow, we have me and Jay doing Ahsoka review for the last 2 episodes, which means I got to watch those episodes tonight while I'm playing Starfield. So come hang out with me and Jay tomorrow live. We'll be doing the Ahsoka review. So if you're a Star Wars fan, like Star Wars, or you just like watching people get stabbed with a lightsaber and don't die, make sure to come check out me and Jay tomorrow reviewing Ahsoka. As you can see by Brody's reaction, he loves when people get stabbed by lightsabers and don't die.
It's goddamn ridiculous.
It's great. Other than that, follow me on Suge Knight 323 on Twitch and TikTok. You will see me tweet out about this show and other things I'm doing. Appreciate all the support, appreciate all the follows, appreciate everything. Hope you guys are having a great one. We will be back next Tuesday to go over the first games, give our thoughts. So come hang out with us. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat. Jeremy Miller, D Weezy, Jay the Six, Jose, anybody else that was hanging out and lurking. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything you guys do when you stop by. I hope everyone has a great night. Be safe, and we will talk to you later.